Before we start off, if you have a question during the show, we want to hear your input is a big part of what makes the show successful, and we thrive on your energies and insights. Whether it's a quick comment, a thoughtful question, or an opinion you just have to share, please don't hesitate to drop it in the chat. And if you want to make absolutely sure your message stands out and gets featured on the show, there's an easy way to do that. Just use the super chat button at the bottom of the chat box to send in your super chat. This guarantees that your super chat gets read on the air, and it's also a fantastic way to support our channel. We really rely on your support to keep bringing you the sports content you love, and we appreciate every bit of it. So go ahead, let us know what you're thinking. Hit that super chat button, and let's keep the show as interactive and exciting as possible. And if you prefer, you can always go to the gsmcpodcast.net to tip, donate, or leave a comment or question there. We couldn't do what we do without your amazing support, and we're so thankful to have you as part of our community. We have to start off though with the Bengals. The Cincinnati Bengals keep their season alive as they beat the Dallas Cowboys in a good old school battle. We saw some defenses. Both defenses play a really good game, despite Cincinnati's defense being pretty weak this season. What they did in this one, limiting Cooper Rush in that Cowboys offense. So let's just zoom through the turning point of this game, and it was an interesting back and forth game. Nobody really had a tight grip in this game throughout the entire game. It was really nip and tuck, back and forth. Cincinnati went in with a 7-point lead. The Cowboys had a great third quarter drive to respond, to enter the fourth quarter level, and then on it really, the fourth quarter was a little bit of a tug back and forth sort of game, which both teams were really struggling to take the game by the scruff of the neck. Then the Cowboys came up with what I believed was going to be the game-winning potential stop. I thought late in the game, they were able to get Joe Burrow off the field on third down, and send the Bengals punting crew on the field. And I'm thinking, wow, the Bengals have seen this situation just play over and over again. The Cowboys are gonna get the ball back, they're gonna lead a drive, and they're just gonna win the game. And it's really that's what has happened in Cincinnati. They've just always been on the wrong side of it. They had penalties as well on that right before that punt that that limited their opportunities to get the first down. There was a hold on Micah Parsons that pushed them back on second down to make it 3rd and 20. And then they eventually got the sack on 3rd and 20, the Cowboys. Now the Bengals are punting right after the 2-minute warning. 2 minutes left in the game. Bengals are getting ready to punt back to Cooper Rush and the Cowboys. And the Cowboys block the punt. And in that moment, you're thinking, wow, okay, this is a chance. Now Cowboys are going to get the ball in really good position. But for some reason, Leon Lett 2.0 happened yet again with the Dallas Cowboys, and this time the infamous Leon Lett was none other than his name is mistaken in my mind, number 27 of the Cowboys. I'll figure that out real quick. I had it written down. Oh yes, Amani Uruwarie. Amani Uruwarie, instead of letting the ball go, he ends up touching it, and he ends up touching it at the 40-yard line. And once the ball got blocked, but it didn't get blocked enough to where it went back the other way. The punt got tipped, where it completely changed the trajectory of the punt. It became a 10-yard. It got blocked into essentially a 10-yard punt. But what happened was Uruwarie decides to try to pick it up, and he doesn't get proper control of the ball. The ball comes free. Cincinnati recovers it at the 41, and that allowed the Bengals to get their offense back on the field there, because it's a first down for Cincinnati, because the rule is if the ball passes, even if it's blocked, if the ball passes the line of scrimmage, and you muff it, the other team can recover it for possession. And that's exactly what happened. In that moment, what should have happened was that everybody in the Cowboys, you should have cleared. Clearly, Oruwari didn't understand that. He decided to go for the ball, doesn't properly control it. Bengals take it over. And you got to think about it. It's such a game-changing play. The Cowboys did everything right on their special teams play. I mean, first of all, the Cowboys defense gets them off the field. Then they get the block, which should be a positive for the Dallas Cowboys. The block should be a positive for the Dallas Cowboys. But not only they didn't it should be a positive because it should allow Cowboys to now get the ball on a short field. But not only did the Cowboys not get the ball on a short field because of the muffed, but the Bengals ended up getting a first down in great field position to what they go on to do a few plays later, and that is score a touchdown. And the touchdown came first down. It's my man Deron Bland. He's playing soft coverage against Jamar Chase, which, I don't mind. You don't want to get beat over the top, especially because they're man on that side. But what happens is, when you're playing soft on, Jamar Chase, and you leave yourself susceptible to what happened. Joe Burrow, nice little timing out route to Jamar Chase on his inside shoulder that allows him to break. Or not even break a tackle, to get past Deron Bland and score the touchdown at the run after the catch. And that play, timing is important. Recognition from the quarterback, making sure that the Deron Bland has no chance to play the ball, because this is something that Joe Burrow talked about after the game, that he works all the time with Jamar Chase, this timing inside shoulder throw, in order for Jamar Chase to be able to do something run after the catch, because it allows him, when you throw the ball on his inside shoulder, his momentum is taking him towards inside the numbers, which allows him to cut up field. You really, in the out route, you're supposed to, or not supposed to, but most of the time you try to lead the player to the sideline, because you leave it inside and you give the corner an opportunity to trump that ball. Usually with the out route, you want to throw it enough to the sideline where it's either the wide receiver or it's going out of bounds. But obviously Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase developed this connection, this timing throw. And I still think it's a little bit of a risk there, because, if Deron Bland decides to jump it, and if he sees it coming, he reads it, he's going the other way. But Deron Bland is playing a little soft. He doesn't recognize that play is coming. Then he takes, in my opinion, a pretty bad angle, trying to get at Jamar. Jamar cuts up inside, completely breaks it, and then from there on, it's just simple. Ain't nobody catching Jamar Chase. And by the way, Jamar Chase, phenomenal game. He finished with 14 receptions for 177 yards and 2 touchdowns, averaged 12.6 yards a reception. Joe Burrow, he did what he has done all season, 33 of 44, 369 yards, 3 touchdowns, had an interception. And the crazy thing is, I thought the Bengals defense wasn't, for the standards that they've shown this season, played a good game. Overall, they limited Cooper Rush production. He had a bad interception. He was 16 of 31, 183 yards for 2 touchdowns and an interception. Rico Dowdle, he was able to get it going, 18 carries for 131 yards, but it never broke the Bengals defense. Yeah, the Bengals defense bent because of the production that Dowdle was getting, but he never broke them, and they were able to keep the Bengals in the game despite the offense not playing to the level that we've seen them so far this season. But the offense still was able to get it done when it mattered the most on the last drive, and that's all that matters, quite frankly. But it's a look. It's still gonna require a miracle for Cincinnati to get into the playoffs at 5-8. It's highly unlikely. Let's just look at it just statistically. You're battling out in the AFC, which you have to catch up to either a 8-5 Denver Broncos team, or an 8-5 Chargers team, or an 8-5 Ravens team, and the Ravens Chargers have tiebreakers over the Bengals. So realistically, the playoffs is just not gonna happen. It take a major miracle. But it was still good for them to get the victory, as they try to stay alive as long as they can. As far as the Dallas Cowboys, obviously I think this is a bigger loss for the Cowboys than it would have been for the Bengals. I thought the Cowboys had a higher possibility of being able to get into the postseason before this one. Now their season is also, it's been gone for a minute, but there's still always that hope. They won their last 2 games, and actually the game that they beat against they beat the Commanders was actually a pretty big game, because if they were gonna get into the playoffs and sneak into a wild card position, it would be at the hands of a Commanders team, and they would have they'd have the Commanders left to play later on this season as well in Week 18, and and they already have the win now over the Commanders, so the tiebreaker is favoring them as long as they can take care of that Week 18 Commanders game. They could have put themselves in a position where they would have been battling for a playoff spot in Week 18, but we're not going to get that anymore. And it's a shame for the Cowboys, because, they play Carolina next. That's a winnable game. Tampa Bay, they're a good team, yes, but it's not impossible. Then you take on the Eagles, which you never know what happened. It's a division rivalry. And then the Commanders, and then that would have been probably the game to decide it. But that's all wishful thinking. This Cowboys team have no business being in the playoffs. We've seen how stinky they've been this season, and for a game that came in with 2 teams, not the biggest expectations for the rest of the season. I thought I was thoroughly entertained, but it's the Dallas Cowboys. I mean, they're always gonna entertain you, whether it's them getting on the right or wrong side of the win-loss column.